The wind cut across the open land like a blade, cold and sharp, the kind that found its way into your bones. A tired rancher stood at a saloon counter with empty pockets and a full heart, certain he was about to be turned away. He had no idea that a single act of kindness, offered without a name, would change the rest of his life. What happened next didn't just fill an empty stomach. It set off a quiet chain of goodness that crossed dusty roads, broken dreams, and lonely hearts, all the way to a future he never thought he'd have. Before we begin, take a moment to support the channel. If stories like this move you, please subscribe, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps keep these stories alive here on Tales River. Now, let me take you back to the American West, when life was hard, words were few, and kindness meant everything. The rancher's name was Eli Turner. He was tall and broad-shouldered, but hunger had carved deep lines into his face. His boots were worn thin, his coat patched more times than he could remember. He had ridden 2 days straight to town, chasing a promise of work that turned out to be nothing more than dust and lies. Eli hadn't eaten since the morning before. His horse was tired. So was his soul. The saloon smelled of smoke, whiskey, and fried meat. Eli stood near the door at first, unsure if he even belonged there. Men laughed loudly at tables, slapping cards down, spending money Eli couldn't imagine having. His stomach growled so loudly he clenched his jaw to quiet it. Finally, he stepped up to the counter and asked the bartender, barely above a whisper, how much a meal cost. The bartender looked him over and named a price Eli knew he couldn't pay. Eli nodded, swallowed hard, and turned to leave. "Hold on," a voice said from behind him. Eli turned and saw a man sitting alone at a corner table. Clean shirt. Calm eyes. He wasn't smiling, but there was no hardness in his face either. "I'll pay for his meal," the man said. The bartender raised an eyebrow but shrugged. Money changed hands. A plate of hot food was placed in front of Eli. Eli froze. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I know," the man replied. "Just eat." Eli sat down slowly, like the kindness might disappear if he moved too fast. He took the first bite and felt something inside him loosen. Warmth spread through his chest, not just from the food, but from the fact that someone saw him as worth helping. When Eli finished, he stood up and faced the man. "I don't know how to thank you," Eli said. The man leaned back in his chair. "You don't thank me," he said. "You do it for someone else someday." Then he added, "You paid for me, now do it." Eli nodded, his eyes burning. He stepped back into the cold wind with a full belly and a promise he didn't yet understand. Days later, Eli found work at a struggling ranch outside town. The pay was small, the work hard, but it was honest. One evening, after a long day mending fences, he spotted a young boy sitting by the road, crying. The boy's wagon had broken. His mother stood nearby, trying not to show her fear. They were traveling west to join family, but they were stranded. Eli remembered the saloon. The warm plate. The words. He didn't hesitate. He spent his only free evening fixing the wagon. He shared his supper with them. When they tried to thank him, he shook his head. "Just do it for someone else someday," he said. Weeks passed. Winter came early that year. One night, Eli rode into town to buy supplies and saw an older man shivering outside the general store. The man had lost his coat gambling. Eli gave him his own. That same winter, a blizzard hit the valley. A nearby ranch caught fire. Eli rode through snow and smoke to help pull people free. He stayed until his hands bled and his lungs burned. Each time, he never asked for thanks. Kindness became something he carried, like a quiet fire inside him. Then one spring morning, everything changed. Eli was sent into town to deliver supplies. At the edge of the street, he saw a woman struggling with a crate that had tipped over, spilling apples into the mud. People walked past. Some glanced. No one stopped. Eli jumped down from his horse. He gathered the apples, cleaned them, and fixed the broken crate. The woman thanked him with a tired smile. Her name was Clara. She was a widow, running a small dry goods stand on her own. Life hadn't been kind to her, but she was still standing. Eli began stopping by her stand whenever he came to town. Sometimes he bought something. Sometimes he just helped carry boxes. They talked about small things at first. Weather, work, the land. Over time, the talks grew deeper. Clara noticed something about Eli. He was gentle in a world that rewarded roughness. He listened. He helped without keeping score. One day, Clara asked him why he was like that. Eli told her about the saloon, the stranger, the meal. And I just kept doing it, he said. Because someone once believed I was worth it. Months later, when Clara fell ill, Eli stayed by her side, cooking meals, running her stand, making sure she wasn't alone. No one asked him to. He just did it. When she recovered, she looked at him with tears in her eyes. "No one's ever done this for me," she said. Eli smiled softly. "Someone once did it for me." They married the following spring. Years passed. Their ranch grew. So did their family. Travelers often found food on their table and a bed in their barn. Children learned early that kindness wasn't weakness. It was strength. One evening, long after the stranger in the saloon had faded into memory, a young man arrived at their door, hungry and lost. Eli welcomed him in. As the young man ate, he looked up and said, "I don't know how to thank you." Eli smiled, the same way he always did. "You don't thank me," he said. "You do it for someone else someday." And so the kindness lived on. Because one small act, done without expecting anything back, can echo through generations. And maybe, just maybe, someone out there is waiting for you to be that stranger in the saloon. If this story moved you, carry it forward. Share a meal. Lend a hand. Speak a kind word when it matters most. Because kindness, once given, never truly ends.